Can you like tell me your name, your age, and
Alright.
like who you are?
Well, basically, my name is Eric Carnvale,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm 38 years old. And I'm sorry, what was the age and where you are? What area right now?
Mm-hmm.
Basically living in a Bethesda, Maryland area in a condo that I just moved from Silver Spring.
All right. Yeah. And where did you grow up?
Originally, I was born in Maine, and I moved down here when I was like 2 or 3, and then I went to Durwood Station, which is around Shady Grove Road area, so it connects right to Rockville Pike.
All right. And then what was that like? Growing up there?
Growing up around there, it was pretty fun. There was a lot of kids in the neighborhood. You know, bike ride and skateboard, snowboard, all that typical stuff that people do.
Yeah, at that time. Okay. What is your earliest memory like growing up over there? Over here, actually.
Memory, like a good memory. Any memory?
Any memory.
I just remember just skateboarding a lot when I was growing up. I was probably the only kid in my neighborhood that had a ramp. So people used to come over all the time and use me for my ramp, which was pretty standard stuff and all that. But at the time, my parents were weird about it because they said, if someone gets hurt, they could sue us and all these problems with it. But I was always the guy that had like either long hair or I had a ramp or I was into music and I was more the outcast kind of person.
What instrument did you play?
Back in the day, I probably started on guitar and I moved probably to bass after, and then I went right into drums. Parents didn't want to deal with the drums in the house. They were really loud. And I started really young with the drums, and just progressed all the way on until I got around 18, 19 years old. In high school, started playing in some bands and stuff.
Did you? Was that like your dream to be a musician?
At the time, with school, I used to have problems in school because I was learning disabled. So basically, I had like problems understanding certain languages, like auditory processing disorder is what they called it. So if someone actually said, all right, we'll build this model car, it was hard for me to read instructions, but if I saw a picture, I could put it together fine. Okay. So I was more into shorter classes. So when I was around that, it just made me feel different. So I got into the music scene, and I wanted to be like big, heavy guy, playing out at shows and all that stuff. So I started getting into that.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. And what were your parents like? I know they didn't like drums and everything.
No, actually, my whole family has a music history background. My father, he played guitar when he grew up a little bit, and my mother played piano. But I never really saw them play that much around the house, but I knew that they used to do that. They got married, and then they had my brother and I, and just pretty much took care of us.
Okay. Are you the oldest brother? Or?
No, I have another brother as Jason. He lives in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
He actually works for Microsoft now, and he's very successful. And he also tried out for Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh,
he played
seriously?
guitar, yeah. So.
Wow. Were you guys like in the same band?
No, he had a different band.
Okay.
I think it was called Crash Attitude growing up, and then I was in another band. I think it was a couple of them. Concrete Asylum was one of the names when I played drums. And then I played guitar for Trust. Yeah. And then, just like split second, I started my own stuff. I started playing guitar again.
Oh wow, that's cool. And like growing up, like with your brother and your two parents, like what was it like to grow up with everyone there?
Growing up, me and my brother were like 3 years difference, so we had differences. He had his clique, I had my clique. My father worked full-time, Mom stayed at home, and helped my father out and stuff like that, but it was just basic, parental living situations, nothing really crazy, so, I don't know if I answered that question early, but I think it was pretty much there. Okay. Pretty much normal life so far,
Yeah, and how's that relationship changed over time, like today?
Well, a lot has changed since then, Of course, I graduated from Walter Johnson High School. I went down to Florida and Georgia, and I kind of traveled a little bit. My brother, he was getting into some, drinking, some heavy drinking. He was developing some issues there. I never really got into drinking until I was like 23 years old. Actually, I remember that memory. I went to Italy, and for my 21st birthday, and when we got there, you could drink at 14. So it was kind of an insult. It wasn't even fun. But when I came back, I went back down to Florida and all that stuff. And me and Jason, we really didn't connect that much. And And then I came back to Maryland, and I met a girl, and that's when my drinking developed more. That's when I became more of a heavy drinker when we broke up at a certain time.
Okay. So. And did you have like any like best friends, or was it just you and your girlfriend?
I had a lot of best friends when I was drinking.
Okay.
Everyone hangs out.
Yeah.
But when you start over drinking a lot and people see that you have a problem with it, they don't want to hang out with you as much. Yeah. You start seeing you're developing problems or getting in trouble. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get a DUI or something like that. And then you just kind of turn to being a loner, more of a barfly. So that started happening with me after my girlfriend broke up with me. I was able to just kind of constantly drink all the time.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't really need friends at that point, which wasn't a good thing at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
And then was that like a dark period in your life? Like
it was. That's probably when I first got my first charge. I got a DUI, and I beat it. Mm-hmm. And then the same month, I got another DUI, and then I also got another DUI in the same month. Wow. And then I got another DUI in another month. I ended up with 4 DUIs. I was first time incarcerated. Mm-hmm. 2002, I went to 7 locks for a weekend in jail. Went to pre-release center, where it's like a halfway institution, to kind of reconstruct you back in the world. And then I went on house arrest in Bethesda, where I live now, which is funny. It's funny how you mess up your life and then you go there, and then you spiral right back into the same spot to deal with your demons. In Bethesda, I will put down that when I graduated or was released from the pre-release center, and I was on house arrest and they took the thing off, that's when I started drinking more, because I was in the city. There's no drinking and driving. You can go to any bar you want. Exactly. And that's when I first got into cocaine. And that's when my first progression was, I started to sniff cocaine.
And what was the draw to it? Would you say it was like the alcohol?
I think so. I think what a lot of people do at that time is, when they drink, eventually drinking just doesn't become enough for them. They want something that's going to enhance them a little bit more and all that. In Bethesda and most cities, in the restaurant industry, cocaine is one of the top-notch, powder things to use. Everyone seems to use it. It's around everywhere. It was funny. I remember when I didn't use it, I looked at everyone like they just seemed like they just drank. Yeah. But when you use cocaine, then you could see differently how they react and say, "Oh my God, everyone is on cocaine here." Oh, wow. There was a lot of people on cocaine at the time. And I used probably for a good 8 months straight, and I had to leave Bethesda because of the cocaine use. And I was able to quit for a year, and then I moved to Frederick, and basically got back into the cocaine field. Obviously, went right back to the restaurants. Tired of sitting alone, home alone, no one to hang out with. So you start drinking, you start partying, and then it comes with more problems.
And what year was that? Like around what age?
2006. I think I don't know if I was 26 or 28 years old at the time, maybe. I think it was around that age. The funny thing with that is I don't even remember from 28 to 35. I don't even remember what really happened. But I remember spending a lot of money, and I was partying a lot. Like a lot. A lot. I was getting it in. I was dating everyone, cheating on girls. Using lots of drugs. I got into smoking weed, drinking beer, doing cocaine. I did ecstasy that month. I remember that. I had like everything going for me, and then one day it was just all gone. And I had to move back in with my parents, and they were going through some problems, and that's when they moved to Darnestown. They had a nice house out there, and I guess something changed with them, and my parents got a divorce, and that was an ugly battle. And due to me being on cocaine, that's when I developed a heavy charge. I actually broke into my parents' house, even though I was living there. Yeah. This is the funny thing. I lived there with a key, but I went in my mom's room, and I had to steal some stuff. I pawned some stuff that I shouldn't pawn. And to get rid of me while they were dealing with the divorce, they decided my mother put a felony theft charge on me, and which is a 20-year sentence at the time, with a violation of probation of DUI. So... How
did that make you feel? Like
I was angry.
Yeah.
I was very angry that my mother would give me a felony, because a felony is something that makes it very hard for people to work, get a job, get in their own apartment, get stable, get back on their feet. But I know that at the time I was a wreck, and they were trying to help me by doing that. And, you know, it was my first time felon, so technically, you know, with the violation, they said, okay, we're going to give you at least 18 months, but they gave it to me. I wanted to go up the road, and basically I think the deal was made. I did consecutive 18s at Clarksburg, which is horrible, because you're more, it's not like going up the road. You don't get to be a little bit more free and eat food and do whatever. You're locked down all the time, and it just makes your stay so much longer. And that was the time when I was in there when the rifle guy, the kid that shot all those people, got his name, but the young kid and the uncle went around shooting people with a rifle.
That sounds familiar.
He was in the hole when I got in trouble. I had to go to a hole, and I remember seeing like 20 security guards, you know, manning him to see his lawyer, you know, transporting him, and we were just like, wow, man, we're really in jail. We thought we at least were in jail in Clarksburg, but Clarksburg is more of a like a romper room. After you start going there, you start realizing that it's really not jail. It's like a babysitting camp. It's actually pretty much a joke. But you do want to go up the road. You don't want to be there because it just takes so long to get out. So.
And how was like your first day? Like when you first got there?
Well, when I first got there, I wasn't sentenced yet. So I already had some time in, and I got appointed with a state lawyer, which was or a public defender, which was Adam Harris at the time, and Adam Harris was able to get 18 months consecutive for me. I wanted to go up the road so I can get out faster. I remember I tried to get into drug court. I didn't even know what drug court was at the time, and I was denied that because I told him I think I had to be on OxyContins for my neck. I wasn't aware that it was a drug program where you couldn't take medication from your doctor. And that kind of screwed me over. So I had to do the 218s, then go to a pre-release center again, and start all over. And by then, you know, I wasn't talking to my mom. My father was paying for my commissary money. There was a big, nasty divorce going on with that. And then eventually, you know, I got out to pre-release center. I had help from a kind of girlfriend named Dana. And I got out of pre-release center, and I was able to hook up with my ex-girlfriend that I wanted to be with at some point. And I went to a sober house, and I had money saved up. I was a cook, and from there we just started dating, and it was all right for a while. And then I started drinking again. So, and then we had a kid. Kind of jumping around on that one, But no, we had a kid, and I had a son, and he's 4 years old right now. I haven't seen him in 2 years. I've been trying to see him. She won't let me see him. She keeps trying to get me locked up, but that's okay. You know, she just moved on with her life, thought it was okay to move on with my kid, with her new fiance, which is fine, but she shouldn't stop me from seeing my kid, technically. But so I've been putting my focus into my recovery because I just got into drug court just, 2 years ago. On another charge that I got. So I'm kind of bouncing around. So basically you have a felony that I got from my mom. I got out. I was with my ex. I got caught up with another felony charge. I actually broke into my best friend's house and stole credit cards and some jewelry. And, that was horrible on my behalf. And it was right in the middle of my ex and me trying to work things out. But at the same time, she already moved on, that I didn't know that. And I was appointed drug court. They were going to send me up the road for 7 or 15 years without parole. I'm facing 38 years right now. So a lot of people call me 38 Special. That's my new nickname. So 38 Special is my nickname. If I mess up, I get 38 years. I won't parole out for 17 of it, which would make me very old in jail. And I've been in drug court, and it was a rough start. And I was able to make amends with my mother, somewhat my father, and I made amends with my brother. We're talking now, which has been like 7 years. I haven't talked to Jason forever. I just met with him recently.
And how did drug court help you?
Well, that's the thing. Drug court in the beginning did not help. Drug court I gotta say, I wasn't aware what I was signing up for. Drug court's been kind of tricky at this point. I can't say that I've been difficult, but I can say that there's a lot of favoritism going on in drug court. I can say that if you catch a therapist or a case manager on a wrong day, that maybe someone bumped into their car and they come in, I feel that they take that out on you. Their sanction guide, they give you sanctions. You know, if you miss a class or a urine, you get sent back. You do an overnight. You know, standard stuff. I've been able to follow everything perfectly, I think. I'm pretty much, I think, sanction-free. I haven't missed a urine. I've been clean for 30 months. I've been in drug court for about 2 years. I did 11 and a half months in the jazz program. I was almost chairman in there. When I got out, though, it was hard because I was at pre-release center again, and trying to find a job was difficult for me. At the same time, my ex was trying to get me for child support. Couldn't get a job. Then she put false charges on me to have me locked up again. And we beat those charges, proved that she actually lied. And that cost me a phase movement. I was supposed to graduate this November, and now I'm waiting till May. Which is unfair, but drug court is anything. But in the end, if you do the work, technically, like, you know, they make you do 3 meetings a week. You have your random urine test. You have to have a service position, preferably, as Judge Roop would say, a coffee position. It gets you more in the mix, because when you make coffee in an AA, NA, or a CA meeting, you actually get to interact with more people by making coffee. And it's such a desired position to make coffee because everyone drinks coffee in sobriety. So the coffee has to be good and ready. You make good coffee, get more interaction with people, which will help you out in sobriety. They tell you to get a lot of phone numbers to get a sponsor, you know, talk to them at least 3 times a week. I talk to my sponsor pretty much every day. I kind of knew him before I got into drug court. He's a really good sponsor. He, you know, helps you through the steps, you know, the readings, all that stuff that you have to do. Make you look at yourself. There's a lot of, what would you say, like, you know, I just met with him for 8 hours going on resentments, step 4. And it really makes you hold yourself accountable, look at yourself and see what part you played in and how you got to this point and how you're going to deal with it. And it's upsetting sometimes because he puts out some stuff, you know, you really have to think about, and you're really angry, but at the same time, you got to look at yourself saying, wait a second, but I did this to myself. I could be mad with everyone, but I really did it to myself. So my problem isn't them, my problem is me. So with drug court, when you get the sponsor, you do the 3 to 6, whatever, how many meetings you want to do, and you work with a case manager or a therapist, okay, and you see them twice a week. Basically what happens is, you know, you talk about your problems, you know, they direct you when they think, you know, it's 4 months, 6 months, 6 months, 4 months. That's the phase movement. You got to get to phase 3, then aftercare, then you can graduate when that graduation comes around. They really put you to work. They make you get a job, you got to do everything. Technically at the time, I couldn't work. I had a lot of disability stuff going on with my neck, and I wasn't really I couldn't find a job. And the only job that I found after 9 months, that's right when my ex put me in jail and I lost that job. So then when I came back, they said, you're high risk, we don't want you. And it was upsetting because you really want to get out of pre-release center so you can live on your own standard terms, you get in a sober house or a regular home, and it's so much more different. When you live on your own, it's a lot more different. But I was at one point, I was able to get out, and my mother was able to help me out a little bit, which was nice. She's been very, you know, supportive. And when I was in jail just recently with the ex-girlfriend thing, I had to sit in there and really think about what do I want to do and how am I going to do it. And basically the situation was, you know, I got into an Oxford house. I knew that I knew a little bit about editing from back in the day. And I'm musically inclined. I know how to do, like, Pro Tools and editing, and I have a creative mind. And I was in the sober house one day, and then I became president because the guy was, I guess he was using, and I tightened up the house, got everything back on track in 2 months. And as my recovery got better, I developed an idea that no one ever had before. I had to call my sponsor, and I was able to say that, you know, in the Oxford house that I was living at, I won't say which one because, you know, technically I try to keep that off the record, but when you live in an Oxford house, you know, they look for fundraisers and donations. And they force people to, this guy came in and said, you know, we're donating money for turkey dinner. Well, you know, okay, that's great, but we're not even going to have a turkey dinner. The house doesn't have the funds, but they came and took it anyways. And when I thought about that, and I started thinking about how many Oxford houses are there around the world nationally? How many houses are there, period, around the world, organizations? And I was able to figure out that there was 4,000 Oxford houses nationally. I thought, how cool would it be to make a movie in my house and do something with like a comedy thriller so I can practice, learn how to edit at the same time, get a movie, and at the same time keep people from being bored and relapsing. So I was able to start like videotaping, making people sign papers, and then I started seeing, I'm like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, you know? And I started doing really funny skits. So I ended up doing a whole movie scripted out of my head with no scripts on paper. I was able to do the graphics, the editing, the producing, the music, the everything. I did everything. I basically told people what to say, how to act, what to do, directed them. It kept them very busy, and then within 5 months, I had a 2-hour, 18-minute clip movie with bloopers on it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And I was able to train myself editing within 45 days, which is YouTube. Literally. I was able to grab like what I needed to make this movie. And then I got into green screen. And then I got into virtual stuff and 3D. And I started like, wow, I'm really getting good at this. And people started calling me like, hey, can you make a rap video on this and that? So I started getting really involved. And then I went to my sponsor and pitched them the idea. And I said, hey, let's do a fundraiser giving back. Let's sell this movie for $3. 75 cents goes back into recovery. Help rebuild houses because our house was falling apart. They needed the money. And would, in a ways, force them to buy my movie because it's recovery related and no one's done this in history. Made a comedy thriller. And so I developed a website. I designed everything. I gave it to a guy to put together. I put my bio history and my vision of what I would like to do. The sad thing about it is after the movie was done, created, and I created a DVD. I have it on Blu-ray and standard. It's sad because 4 of the people in the house relapsed and they left. So it's
and how many people were in the house?
7.
7.
So basically, the movie, the sequence of it is it's 7 days, and the movie's called Galvez 7. Galvez7.com, and then you have in 7 days, 7 people die. It's technically how it is. And it's just frustrating because a lot of people were some really good people in there, and they even told me, they said that movie brought us together, kept us from using, but when it was done, we didn't know what to do. And as a president of the house, and the house was falling apart, and everyone was starting to relapse, it was very frustrating on my behalf. But at the time, there's nothing else I could do at that point. I could only focus on yourself. You can help them if they want to help, but you have to focus on yourself. And then I was already on a situation where drug court was ready to allow me to get my own place. And I started developing within 1 month of the movie kind of launching. I was able to create like 2,000 hits without even advertising it. I signed up with Oxford Organization. They're sending it out nationwide this month to tell everyone to buy the movie. And I told them I would match their 75 cents to give back. And there's over 10,000 organizations out there, and that's just one. So 1 week I can make 40 grand, up to 80 grand. I'm trying to get SAMHSA and DARE program. I'm basically trying to give back to people saying that, this works. A lot of people in recovery have a lot of art backgrounds. People that I go to jail with, I've seen in jail actually, can rap, poetry, write a book. They can draw with an M&M. You would be surprised.
M&M?
I've seen like M&Ms where they actually color on a page. And it's probably some of the best artwork I've seen in my life. And these people are so talented. So my idea is to keep making sober films now every year and develop a listing of people that I help. And just keep giving back and giving back. At the same time, it does make me rich. I'm not going to lie. It really puts a lot of money in my pocket. But it also gives me an opportunity to donate and create better programs for people with felonies. At this time, if I applied anywhere right now, even with all my skill, I couldn't get a job. No one would want me.
Even though you have this under your belt.
Even I have this under my belt. Now, what I was able to create, though, is I was able to create a company called Straight Shot Edits Pro LLC. And then you have the Galvez7.com, and now I'm EADC Incorporated. So I have 3 corporations. I'm constantly calling people to get them. Basically, I'm just calling saying, hey, it's free money. I'm doing a fundraiser for your charity. You direct people to my website. You tell them to buy the DVD, and every month I'll send you a check. It's free money. By doing that, it's giving me publicity. It's sending people to, it's making my site very popular. It's making my business saying, well, is he any good? Well, I made a whole movie by myself, and a lot of people will usually get, pay about $3 million to make a movie sometimes. like Blair Witch Project and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they paid about $20,000 for that movie. They made a couple $1 million off that gig. Just over a stupid idea.
Yeah.
You know, but they went with it. You have to do the work. If you do the work, you'll succeed, and I believe in that. And you have to work with a sponsor. In drug court, I have to say, even though I had animosity towards them, a little resentment, in the end, if it wasn't for drug court to give me an opportunity and to live in a sober house, I would never have came up with this idea. It took me 38 years to grow up. So now I'm pretty successful. I make a great income. I have my own condo in Bethesda. I'm getting my license back. I'm actually went to a dealership. They're thinking about giving me a free van to put a vehicle wrap with the movie stuff on there, so I can drive it around and promote the movie.
Yeah.
We have investors. We're trying to get Starbucks and Pete's to get involved because you can actually, everyone in recovery drinks coffee.
Yeah.
We're trying to get them to throw some money on the table so I can make my next film, it'd be great to do another comedy thriller. We're going to release the movie hopefully in the next 2 months at Rockville Town Center in the movie theater for like a free viewing for everyone in drug court. But I mean, you know, in the end, it wasn't worth it, but it was worth it. You just have to do the work. So if you don't follow through, you're never going to, you know, make it.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
And I can say, you know, I'm not scared to make it anymore. I don't have to relate on someone giving me $6.50 an hour anymore. I could say, you know, I made $40,000 this month. You know, I don't have to work for you. I just got to keep staying in recovery, though. And now, if I remove myself from recovery, I'm not going to lie, there's a possibility that, yeah, I could relapse. And if I relapse, you know, you could have $10 million in the bank, but you could definitely spend $10 million. You'd be surprised how fast it goes with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Especially with people you party with. They all want freebies.
Yeah.
So I'm able to do what I have to do now at this point. I'm supposed to graduate this May. And I'm just going to keep continuing to launch this movie because that's the only thing I have at this point.
It's something good, too.
It is something good.
Yeah.
And it's never been done in history and in drug court. And right now we're developing, I don't know if it's just a thing called, I don't know if Pennsylvania does it or not, but it's called the Rockville Rap. They do the county raps.
Oh, no.
Where they talk about what the county has and all that. Well, I'm actually going to be the other guy, the first guy that's coming out with the first drug court rap. Since I was a musician, I'm able to rap and do music, and I'm going into the studio next week, and we're actually going to shoot a video, and we're going to launch it on YouTube. So I'm going to combine that with my, you know, movie situation, make sure I get it in before everyone else does, you know.
No, that's smart, man.
So,
that's smart. And what would you say was the happiest moment of your life? Would you say it was making this film? And
probably was. Probably making people laugh and showing them that, probably happiest time in my life was probably shooting the film. I was able to see people laugh, show them what I can do. We watched a couple clips together, and it just really kept us busy and stuff, so.
What is something that we didn't get to talk about today that you want to tell everyone, basically?
I could say honestly, I could say that recovery works. It definitely works, and I keep pushing that because, you know, when you go into an AA in 2002, you're just not there. You're really not there. You're just getting a slip sign. You don't care. You really don't understand what's really going on in that room until one day something clicks and you really pay attention, you focus, you're able to actually really, even if you're not a heavy drinker, you're able to take the 12 steps and apply them in your life as a regular person in society to be able to say, like, okay, well, when I get angry with somebody, this is a good way to deal with the situation. So I've been able to, you know, say that basically, yeah, recovery does work and you can apply it to your life. It's fairly simple. And you can definitely, you know, get ahead in life. It can make you a better person, but you're going to have to want it, and it's not going to happen overnight. It took me 2 years to get where I'm at, even though the movie took 5 months, but it still took me 2 years, and I'm still I probably accomplished 70% of my life. I still got 30 more to finish. I still have anger problems. Dealing to be patient is very hard sometimes. You want something right away, and you just don't get it. That's the addict behavior. So there's a lot of stuff I still have to complete and work on, but I still have plenty of time in drug court to get it. But the key is I always wanted to leave Maryland. When I graduate, I'm definitely leaving Maryland. I want to be out of Montgomery County. I'm thinking now, if I do a tour for this movie, I'm just going to go on a tour and figure out where I want to live. But I've always wanted to live in Florida. The problem, though, is when I wanted to live in Florida is because I wanted to party. Florida's a party area, and you could make $300 a month there and still live large if you wanted to. It's fairly cheap. And if I come up with a lot of money, it's going to make me have a lifestyle thinking, maybe I could go back to those days. I don't want to do that. So I'm considering, I do like the city, so I'm thinking about New York City might be one of the possibilities. The crime rate is really heavy up there. I know that California I wanted to live at, but if you catch a felony out there, you could probably do life.
Yep.
I'm not down with that.
Yep.
So I'd rather not even risk that situation. But I'm thinking about New York, and I was even thinking about when you have a lot of money like that and you can work from home and fly out and do shows or whatever, I'm considering going back to Maine where I was from so I can relearn my, what I'm really about and
who you are.
Who I am and all that. Because my parents really don't connect anymore, and it's hard to talk to them, so I have to go out there and figure out stuff for myself.
That's what it's about.
I can't really think of anything else I could say. Don't tell on yourself in drug court. Be careful what you say.
Yes.
It's so quick to get caught up in drama, and you can definitely lose a lot out of it. You could piss off the wrong therapist, and they can just burn you. I think the judges are cool because one of them actually lost a brother due to a heroin addiction, and the other one actually is recovering alcoholic. So he understands, but the thing is, he's made it so long without using. So if you use in front of him, it's his way or no way. It's like, don't tell me that crap.
Yeah.
I made it, so you can make it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of power right there to hear, which is helpful. But at the same time, it's just no excuses. Just don't pick up. And he believes in that, and I believe in that also. It's easy to get angry and just go use drugs. Or someone cuts you off, I'm going to go use drugs. But when you deal with all that stuff sober, it's a lot different. Yeah. There's no reason to pick up again, unless you just feel you just want to get high. Yeah. Some people just like to get high and they just can't stop.
Yeah. It's hard.
It just takes them. I have a guy that I know graduated. I won't say his name, but he graduated drug court. He had a car, he had a fiance, he had his own house. He got all this stuff back because he did the program. Within 2 months, I think, after, he was riding a bicycle around trying to sell stolen goods, saying, man, it's rough out here. And I'm saying it's crazy because he decided to pick up and use again, and he has absolutely nothing. And he's already wanted in 3 states. And it happens like that. Just because you want to use and you don't realize what you're doing out there. And he has no Maryland charges, but when he does get that Maryland charge and he gets in front of Judge Roop again, Judge Roop's going to smack his head and send him right up the road. And he lost everything. All he has to do is turn himself in and get back in the rooms. And it's sad. It's sad to see that happen because drug court does show you that, hey, you made it this far, and if you go out and use again and lose everything, at least we prove that you can make it for 2 years if you had some kind of supervision. Some people just can't want to get out. Yeah. It was what you do when you get out is what if the real person is. Am I going to run off to a bar? Am I going to drink? Am I going to use drugs? Am I going to hurt somebody? All that stuff that I had to go through with my ex-girlfriend. Am I going to run off and do something crazy? More likely, no, I'm not going to do anything because I've learned a better way now. Yeah. And some things are just not worth it. I feel that my son will catch up with me when he's ready, and I'm setting up a fat bank account for him when he is ready. The man is going to go to college. He's going to learn lots of things, and I'm going to make sure he has every opportunity that I had. I might even put a motion in to get full custody. It really depends at this moment. But if I do a 1-year tour, it's kind of hard to figure out where we're at. Yeah. So. But that's pretty much the life of drug court for me.
Yeah, man. Okay. And you seem really reflective on your, what you've been through and everything like that.
The what is?
What you've been really reflective on your life and how you got to where you are today.
I could say with high school, learning disabled, I had a lot of difficulties in school, fitting in. I had a lot of anger problems with people. I never really got picked on. I never got beat up. My brother got beat up a lot. I used to beat the crap out of people who used to beat on my brother. To this day, if I see someone that I know that messed with my brother, I still have a serious issue to deal with that because, if you don't get caught, you don't get caught. But you just can't go around hurting people.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually, in the end, Jason needs to deal with those issues. He needs to confront these people. and he's man enough to do it. He's got a lot of anger in him too. I think the reason why he didn't is because he probably would have killed him. I think, and I worry about that.
Yeah.
Me, I just wanted to give him a little beating. So, but that was back then.
Yeah.
But it's there was a lot of stuff growing up with that, and I was jealous of my brother. He tried out for Red Hot Chili Peppers. And, I was a musician. I'm trying to make it, and he was apparently jealous of me the whole time. My mom told me about it. She's like, oh, my God, Jason's jealous of you. I'm like, what do you mean? He has a job.
Yeah.
He has a future. He makes a lot of money. He's married. He has his own house. He has like 20 cats and a dog. And, he's making it. He's living life really well. And, I never really worked hard at anything until now, and it paid off. And I'm just thinking all that time I wasted. I could have put the energy into editing a long time ago when video was when it was actually being popular.
Yeah.
I remember when bands were coming out, they wanted a video. Like, people thought that was $20,000 to it. You could have just sat at home with $500 and made a video.
Exactly.
I could have had my name out there a long time ago, and I wasted a lot of time. Hurt a lot of people in the process, ripped off a lot of people. But, in the end, I was the one in jail, though. They got to live their life. I'm jealous that, people get to use drugs and drink every day and go home and never catch a charge.
Yeah.
My singer, he drank a 30-pack a night, never caught a charge. He missed out on life because he drank, but at least he never went to jail. Me, I'm like, well, how come he gets to do that and I don't?
Yeah.
You have to look into stuff like that, so...
Crazy.
But things, they're progressively, they're getting better. I know how the court system works now. I hang out with a lot of public defenders. I represent anyone in drug court that's working on something. If they mess up, I do show up in court out of respect for them, that hopefully that the judge won't terminate them. I do whatever I can to show people that I do care, because it is working for me. I don't have to say, hey, you got to go make a movie like me.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a lucky chance, and it worked out for me in the end. But, I'm just trying to show people that, dude, you can do anything. You can be a rap artist. You can paint art. I know a guy that buys art. You can scribble a couple lines on it. It'll probably pay $5,000 for a piece of art. So, it's what do you want to do with yourself? If you want to make it, then make it. If you want to sit around and feel sorry for yourself, no one's going to feel sorry for you, because you're just sitting around looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
And you're just wasting your life. But, this is, like I said, the first time ever I woke up and said, I got to man up, come up with something. I have to do whatever I can to help my son when the time is right for him. And I got to move on with my resentments and graduate drug court and just keep going. I want to see how far I can push this.
Yeah.
If I can develop 6 more movies, awesome. If I could retire by May, that would be amazing. Drug court, that would be huge for Montgomery County Drug Court. A guy in drug court makes a movie, and it's successful, and he gives back to the world, and he makes programs. And my dream is to take the jail addiction services from jail and bring it to the streets, where kids go in there and they deal with inmates on the weekends. They get good time for doing it. They learn something. Hopefully, it's like Scared Straight.
Yeah.
Try to scare them straight into the right direction, hopefully. But I'm not sure, what kind of funding will be available when my movie stuff comes out. But I'm hoping it gets there.
Yeah, it's all about the vision. Man.
Right. If I can get there, that'd be amazing, I think. Stuff like that. But, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. I have to be very patient. Like, I'm hungry for money right now, and I'm waiting for Oxford to do their thing so I can at least get started to get on the next one. If you prove that it works and you raise money, it's so easy to get another 20 million accounts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's free money. And it does go back into the house, and I'm going to make sure they do go back in the house. If I raise money and they take the money and I find out nothing goes into these houses, I will put them publicly. That is another angle I'll come at them, because the people that grant the money to these houses are supposed to be going into the houses. And if they're pocketing the money and getting rich off it while, recovering addicts are suffering and they got mold and all this crap in the house, that's inappropriate, and I will put them on blast. And I'll try to shut them down if that's the case. And then I'll just open my own homes and make sure they get into the right homes. So that's the angle I'm going for. I'm trying to start a little bit of a war, but at the same time, I'm trying to get help at the same time. So,
I see it.
Right. Yeah. Any more questions you got on
No, I think we pretty much covered it, man.
I think we covered it?
Yeah, I was just like, is there anything else we didn't talk about that you wanted to add? Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
But
I'm the
thank
coolest
you.
guy in drug court. That's all I can say. No one can touch Carnvale. Leave that on there. So.
38 special?
38 Special is my nickname. I don't know if people are calling me that in drug court, but 38 Special, 38 years, you know. So I'm trying to get that removed off my my brain when I graduate.
Yeah, man.